Welcome back guys. Today we're going to be doing sublimation and we're going to be doing a really great example. We're going to make a jacket. We're going to take you through the process on how it goes from printing on paper to a complete garment. Stick around and you'll see exactly how we do it. The first stage is design. Now you have to make sure that your design is done correctly. And if you have a look at my screen, you can see that we've got quite a lot of blue in here and we've got a lot of shading and there's quite a lot of colors. Although it's only one color, there's a lot of colors that we have to play with here. Now, making sure your design is done correctly. Talking about color. As per one of our previous videos, we showed you on what an important job it is to make sure you do color swatches. So if you don't mix match your colors, print different samples, you'll never know what your outcome is. Because you've got to keep in mind what you see on your screen and what you print out there may not look the same depending on the material and depending on the amount of ink you print with. So you have to make sure your design is done correctly. Now I've already pre-approved this with my customer. I've already done my swatches, so all I need to do is send it over to the printer and let's get printing. Now the printing stage is quite important. You have to make sure that you choose the right pass over. You have to make sure your printhead is quite clean, otherwise your print is not going to come out. Once we've pushed print and you see your color is not the same as what you see on your screen, keep in mind that the paper absorbs most of your color and it also needs to be in reverse. If you do not print any of your artwork in reverse, then you'll see all of your artwork being printed later, heat pressed in the wrong direction. So make sure you reverse your image, and you can quite easily do so in the program so that it's always set to print everything in reverse. So when you're designing, you can see it the way it's supposed to be, and when you push print, it prints it the right direction. One thing you have to keep in mind is your paper. Your paper is very important. If you have very thin paper, keep in mind that you need to stay away from your higher passes and keep it to a 4 pass rather than 6 to 8, because the paper does not have enough substrate to absorb all your ink. That being said, you also need to make sure your settings on your heat press are the same as what the grammage of your paper is. If it's very thin, you need to have it move a lot faster with a higher temperature. If it's a thicker paper, you've got to heat press it a lot slower with a lower temperature. If you're having the struggle, you need to test and play around. Once it's printed, now remember we already know what material we're using, so we're going to be using soft shell today for our jacket. It is completely up to you what you use. As sublimation, you can use any type of polyester. Keep in mind, polyester only, no cotton. Natural fibers do not work. Just before we go and put our heat press on, we need to make sure our fabric is clean. If your fabric isn't clean, know that it's going to print with a blemish or you're going to have a crease mark. Definitely make sure that you have no air bubbles between your paper and material. Remember, some materials are waterproof, so the air does not escape as it's going into the heat press roller, and that will cause what we call a little blemish spot where everything around your print is perfect except for where the air bubble is. That means no heat was trapped there, so the ink did not transfer from your paper to your material. I'm glad that you guys got to see this, but this is something that you need to be careful of. As you see, when we're cutting through the paper underneath on the actual roll itself, the static from winter creates a suction on the paper and sticks to your drum. If you do not pull it away, it will keep rolling up in your drum while it's heat pressing a long piece of fabric. Now, if that happens, you're definitely not going to get enough heat going from your drum to the paper and the material that you're actually sublimating. Now, if it keeps going around in that drum, then you're going to have a problem. Your entire job is going to be a different color to what it's supposed to because it's not getting the right heat. That being said, be very careful, don't burn yourself, and make sure that you take the paper off the drum immediately after it comes out the heat press. Now that we've given it to CMT, he's now going to go and cut up all the panels and stitch them together in the correct format. And from there, once he's done, he's going to finish it up, he's going to iron it and then package it off so we can send it off to our client. And that is a very quick process behind our sublimation. Alright guys, now that we've finished that entire process, as you can see, the jacket came out really well. The colors are determined by the customer. For me, the colors came out really nice. I love the vibrancy of the blue. Remember, any color can look just as nice as long as your design is done correctly. And if you've made sure you've done all the steps correctly, you should never have an upset customer. And as you can see, if hard work through this machine pays off, so does the final result.